So, I was drowning in degeneracy the other day when I stumbled upon a pretty cool YouTube channel. The name was Merryweather Comics, and the creator seemed to have a specialty for turning things into anime girls. He's taken random objects, such as web browsers or vending machines, and threw them into the path of his animinizing beam. There's something about his work that's just really interesting to me. The way he personifies the characteristics of objects that don't have a personality in the first place is an omen to his overwhelming artistic talent and creativity. But something that really caught my eye, however, was his series called Console Anime Girls. And as you can expect, he turns video game consoles into anime. To me, this was extremely interesting. It combined two things that I enjoy, video games and anime. Unfortunately, this makes me look like a massive loser, but back on track. I like video games and I like anime, so fusing things together is a formula for attracting my attention. It was because of this I ended up binging the entire series, which is only really 10 minutes long. But overall, it was pretty enjoyable. I got to see events that I personally understand, such as the failure of Google Stadia and the superior attitude of PC gamers through the lens of anime girls. However, there was just one thing that I couldn't ignore, and it was in the short titled iPhone and Android Bully You for Being Poor. And basically, as the title suggests, iPhone and Android, personified into anime girls, make fun of the viewer for being poor because they bought a $60 PC game instead of spending thousands of dollars on microtransactions in mobile games. Then, all of a sudden, PC comes in and makes them both shut up. What a phenomenal laugh. You might be confused right now. You might be asking, what's wrong with this? PC is obviously the best gaming platform of all time, and it makes sense that this PC anime girl would dominate iPhone and Android. After all, PC good and mobile game bad, right? Wrong. If you are part of the gaming community, as they call it, you're guaranteed two things. First of all, you're a big loser, and second of all, you really like fighting with your fellow gamers. Xbox and PlayStation are deadlocked in all-out war, which Xbox is better by the way, and meanwhile, PC gamers consistently act like they're better than everyone else. However, there's one thing that unites all these platforms, which is looking down on the mobile gaming industry. If you ignore all of the other infighting, the entire community is like that one meme with a Teletubby. All the people putting their hands in the center are your various platforms, and the poor Teletubby is mobile games. They're seen as this cesspool of garbage ads, pay-to-win games, and awful content. And while a lot of this is true, what isn't is the analogy I just made. In the meme, the Teletubby is just about the same size as everyone else, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. In reality, something that most gamers don't recognize, at least something I didn't, is that the gaming industry is absolutely dominated by mobile games. Although the long series of games like Pokemon and Mario may have made more money over their decades of release, when it comes to single games, the crown goes to mobile games. Mario is the highest grossing video game of all time, making $32 billion over the course of 39 years. And Puzzle & Dragons is a mobile game you've definitely seen ads for. In its 8 years of release, however, it's made almost $8 billion. It doesn't take a genius to see that Puzzle & Dragons is making money faster. In this matchup, Mario has all the advantages. It has a dedicated and active fan base, way more games, and is literally part of people's childhoods. You can't really say the same about Puzzle & Dragons, and yet its freemium model is dominating Mario in revenue each year. The difference is even more clear when you look at a breakdown of the gaming industry. Mobile games take up over 50% of the entire sector, with more revenue and players than console and PC combined. Now, I already know what you're going to say. You're going to say that mobile games are obviously going to be a bigger market. They're aimed at the casual gamer, while console and PC games are aimed at the hardcore gamer. Take a look at the automobile market. Economic vehicles dominate luxury and performance vehicles in sales and revenue. Yet no one is saying that economic vehicles are a more lucrative market than luxury ones. Not everyone who has a car is going to be a hardcore car person who's going to buy a Lamborghini, and so in the same boat, not everyone who's going to buy a game is going to be a hardcore gamer who's going to get the newest AAA game. The problem is that the mobile game industry isn't the same as any other average consumer-targeted markets. Economic cars such as the Corolla make their billions through quantity. The profit margins on your average cars for the average Joe are razor thin. The costs for making the car are just barely lower than the sell price, but the companies make up this low margin by selling hundreds of millions of cars. Meanwhile, luxury cars may have less revenue in total. However, companies can jack up the price on these premium cars in order to get bigger profit margins. All this is a great argument for why luxury vehicles have a better business model compared to economic vehicles, despite having lower total revenue and customers. However, you can't really apply the same argument to the mobile gaming industry. And that's because the differences between the luxury car market and the economic car market compared to the differences between the mobile gaming market and the hardcore gaming market are radically different. First of all, the supply and demand chain for the two industries are wildly different. The infinite supply of virtual products is another topic entirely that could get its own video, so I'm just going to quickly sum it up. Cars are physical objects, so every unit sold costs the car company some money in materials and labor. On top of that, there's going to be initial development costs for making a new car model, as well as advertising and all of those other shenanigans. Meanwhile, because video games are virtual, there's an infinite supply. Every individual unit sold doesn't cost the company a cent because it's all online and isn't a physical object, and instead it becomes pure profit. This advantage is slightly made up for through higher initial development costs for these virtual items. However, it still causes the two industries to be extraordinarily different. There's more differences too. Sure, mobile games may be targeted towards your average person more than Assassin's Creed or something, like how economic cars are more targeted towards your average person than like a Lamborghini, but unlike economic cars, the profit margins aren't slim on mobile games. Sure, the price tag may be literally free, but microtransactions are going to make a lot more money than the price tag on a AAA game. And if you take a look at a AAA game and a mobile game that both had a similar amount of revenue, are you just going to tell me that the mobile game took more resources to make and therefore made less profit? No, and I'm not even cherry picking my data by choosing the biggest mobile game compared to some tiny AAA game that flopped. The AAA game that I'm using in my comparison is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the most successful game in the massive Assassin's Creed franchise, which you've definitely heard of. On the other hand, the mobile game I'm using in my comparison is Fate/Grand Order, a mobile game you've probably never heard of unless you're from Japan or you're a weeb. I may not have lied about cherry-picking my data, but I have lied about one thing, and it's that these two games have not even made close to the same amount of revenue. Black Flag made an impressive $1.38 billion. However, Fate/Grand Order made over 3 times more at $4.2 billion. That's one mobile game you've probably never heard of, making almost as much money as the entire Assassin's Creed franchise, which almost everybody knows. All this brings me back to my intro, the anime comic short about video game consoles. You can probably guess what I'm about to say right now, and that this representation of the gaming industry is incorrect. PC doesn't absolutely dominate mobile games. In fact, it's more the other way around. In the business world, money is the only thing that really matters, and although consumers may be happier buying a well-made video game for $60 than they would be spending their life savings to roll their waifu in a gacha game, happiness doesn't really pay the rent. At the end of the day, mobile games make more money, so that makes them better than console and PC. So, I've settled it. In the endless debate between console and PC, the winner is actually neither. The best gaming platform is actually mobile gaming, and that's simply because it can more easily open your wallet. I'm Copacat, and this has been my incomprehensible rant on mobile games.